Antonio Buehler says he was at a gas station in the early morning hours of New Year's Day in 2012 when he used his phone to take pictures of a woman being arrested and crying out for help. In this video clip from the dashboard camera of a police car at the scene, Officer Patrick Oborski pulls the female passenger out of a car that had been stopped for having its lights off. As she cries for help, you can hear Antonio Buehler call out to the officer.
Don't touch me. You're on video.
That's good. Come on. You're done.
I'm not on video.
That's it. Get up. Why are you pulling her out of the car? Hey, don't worry about it.
Help me, please.
Why are you pulling her
out of the car? Mom.
What are you doing that to her? What is she doing to you? She's not
I haven't done nothing.
Get up. She's not doing you guys.
Take video of this, please. Can you take video of this?
Stand up.
Take video of this. Take video of this. Yeah, seriously, take video of this. Can you take video of this?
Stand up. And pull her out of the car like that. Oh.
Be quiet, please. Ashley.
How many times we got to tell you not to interrupt?
This is the first time that footage has been broadcast. Ultimately, Antonio Buehler's attempt to document apparent police abuse ended with his own arrest when the officer said he felt Buehler was spitting on him. He faced a felony charge of harassment of a public servant and possible sentence of 2 to 10 years in prison.
Antonio, welcome to Democracy Now! The significance of this trial and why you are on trial. This is a misdemeanor that faces $500 fine, and yet you've been in court now for days.
Yeah, and I think that it all revolves around the fact that police officers don't like to be held accountable, and prosecutors tend to cover for corrupt police officers.
Who said that you were a domestic terrorist threat?
That came from the Austin Police Department. One of the officers who's arrested me for filming, his name is Justin Barry. He created a PowerPoint presentation presented to the Regional Fusion Center, and in it they said that I was a domestic terrorist threat, as was the Peaceful Streets Project, because we go out and film cops. They said that we were a threat to all police officers and we've encouraged violence against police officers, which is just not true.
And Antonio Buehler, the response to your Peaceful Streets Project in Austin as a West Point grad and as a war veteran, what has been the marshaling of support for you?
The people tend to really support us. The problem is that the city doesn't support us, and so the police officers have documented us, they followed us, they've surveilled us, they've arrested us numerous times, and the prosecutors have been colluding with them to drum up charges against us. They've tried to bring 4 felony charges against me since that day 3 years ago.
Can you explain exactly what happened on that day? We saw this exclusive video just now. What happened on the morning of New Year's when this woman was taken out of her car?
Nothing. I was just a designated driver, pulled over to the gas station to fill up with gas, and we watched what we thought was a pretty benign DWI stop. The woman in the passenger seat of a car, she didn't commit any crime. She wasn't aggressive. She was just on her phone trying to organize a ride in case her driver got arrested. And then as we were leaving, the police officer just didn't like the way that she wasn't bowing down to him, and he ripped her out of the car. And as you saw in the video, I started calling out, asking them why they were doing it. She begged for help. And then when I started filming, that just enraged the one police officer, and he ended up coming over to me, getting in my face, pushing and shoving me. And then I guess in the aftermath of it, they needed to find a way to cover up the assault of the police officers, so they charged me with a felony of spitting in the cop's face. There's been at least 6 police officers in the courtroom, uniform and in plain clothes. We think that they're there to intimidate the jury. There is one that crossed the thin blue line. He said that he stepped forward out of concern for my civil rights, and when he notified his supervisor that he was subpoenaed and that he was going to testify, they then notified him the very next day that he was being terminated as of October 31st. So this case has been a lot about threats and bullying and intimidation and retaliation from the Austin Police Department and the city prosecutors. Police officers, even when they do record, we don't get the videos. So that dash cam that you showed, it took 2 years and 9 months for us to get that video, and we're defending ourselves in a criminal trial. When we have a dash cam of a cop killing someone, it typically malfunctions or disappears. So we can't trust the police officers to monitor those videos for us, so we need to do it ourselves. But secondly, as we've seen in Ferguson and other places, when people come together to record the police, they build community, and they start to understand their responsibility to look after and take care of one another. And I think that that's the most important part, building communities and realizing that we don't have to defer to people who tend to violate our civil rights to keep the peace. We can do it ourselves.